Hello, everyone. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the movie Help I Shrunk My Teacher. Enjoy the movie. Felix dreamed that he was a pilot who masterfully flew an airplane, but then his father interrupted the dream by throwing clothes at Cena. After all, the boy was already late for school. No matter how Peter was in a hurry, alas, arriving at the school on time did not work. The 100-year-old school looks ominous and scares not only Felix but also his father. To wander through the corridors, they almost entered a locked office, an old teacher's room, which has long been no one uses. Finally, the relatives were brought before the strict principal, Frau Schmidt. The school has a strict selection process. In a week, Felix will pass 2 exams, and the decision on enrollment will be made only after 3 months. Here it is very strict with discipline. You are allowed only to breathe and study. Schmidt sent the boy to his 5th B and confronted counselor, hinting the man intends to make some serious changes, but this is prevented by both Schmidt and the school itself. The father gives his son the advice to present the teacher naked so he won't be afraid of her. "Are you out of your mind?" said Felix. "Well then, imagine her tiny," corrected Peter. The boy entered the classroom with fear and found that the children here behave as usual. Mario, a major kid, controls a quadcopter and mocks the newcomer. The big-eared henchman offered to kick his ass. Gobbles laughed at the hero's last name. Everyone immediately scattered to their seats when Frau Schmidt entered the classroom. The woman called Felix to the blackboard and reminded the student that he was on probation. The boy slows down and can't draw the right figure. He excuses himself by saying he's not good at math. Schmidt looks at all this and tells Ella that the seat next to her will soon be vacant again. "She's fucked you," Eeyore said happily and put the newcomer in front of the choice of who he's with. Them, the girls, or the rest of the losers. And if with them, he must pass 3 tests, Mario added, and on the fly came up with the first one, to sneak into the old teacher's room after sunset. At first the boy was scared, but he doesn't want to be seen as a loser and a weakling. So Felix headed back to school in the evening. Schmidt stayed up late checking her notebooks. Caretaker Mahalski had feelings for the strict woman. The boys thought that he was the last one to leave the school and now no one would bother them. Felix sneaked inside without any problems and went to the right office. Inside he found a lot of old African items and a portrait of the founder of the school that was following him. Felix called the others here, and Schmidt heard a noise and went to find out the reason for it. The boy was playing with some ball and suddenly found himself face to face with the principal. Felix tried to justify himself, but Schmidt took away the ball and said that the boy would be sent away for lying, breaking, and stealing. Suddenly the ball spun and the boy began to imagine the woman small. The plate flashed and the teacher suddenly disappeared somewhere. Schmidt had indeed become quite tiny and was now trying to avoid meeting the huge feet of her students. The woman dives into Felix's backpack and he unknowingly drags the principal to his house. The boy realizes he's let his father down. After all, if he is kicked out of this school, they will have to move to another city. While Felix was telling how it all happened, Schmidt fell out of her backpack and landed painfully on her heel. There was a huge piece of gum stuck in her hair. The lady had to go to the bathroom, but the standard toilet wouldn't do. But a bonsai tree would do the trick. Her mom called her men and they arranged an express cleaning, thus seriously complicating the miniature woman's way. Mom is now working in America and Felix misses her very much. While the family discusses the school issue, Frau Schmidt murmurs and waters the tree. All that urine was poured on himself by Peter. Felix promised his mother that he'd take care of all the school problems. In the morning, Schmidt decided that she would no longer hide from the student, and Felix immediately recognized that it was his fault because it was his wish. The boy carried Frau into the kitchen. The woman wondered when they had last cleaned up. Their house looked like a pigsty. Felix was spreading cheese on bread when Peter entered the room. The boy threw the teacher a sandwich and covered it with another piece of bread. Dad almost cut the sandwich in half, but Felix saved the woman. But when she threatened to throw the boy out of school, he threw the teacher in the trash can. Felix took pity on the woman and washed her clothes in the school bathroom. Meanwhile, the counselor took the rich family into the old teacher's lounge. He plans to turn the school into an elite club for the children of wealthy parents. Another wish would have come true, but Mahalski put out the fire. At the same time, he threw a foam party. Schmidt demanded that Felix intervene and somehow stop the counselor. That's how the boy found out that this unpleasant man was Mario's father and that tomorrow the school would be closed due to insufficient number of pupils, and neither Felix nor the principal would like that. The boy offered to take him in immediately so that the school would not be closed. But Schmidt is not going to break the rules even now. Felix stuck the teacher in a pencil case and demanded that she help him write a test paper. That's how Schmidt became a cheat sheet against her will. Ella liked the new kid and tried to look into the pencil case to see why he was talking to him. The teacher replaced the questions with easier ones, and because of that Schmidt refuses to help. Even a dummy like Felix should be able to handle them. Mario throws the new kid a stack of sheets. This is the second test. Felix has to write the paper for the 3 of them. That's how Schmidt found out what an obnoxious son the counselor has and agreed to solve the problems for these cheaters. Felix's pen has leaked and stained Frau Schmidt. The woman wants her apprentice to buy her new clothes. The inquisitive Ella starts following him and walks him to the children's store. It was here that Felix decided to buy clothes for the Lilliputian. On the street, he tried to get away from the girl's bailiff and fell off the skateboard onto his back. The boy was afraid that he flattened the teacher, but Schmidt only broke her nose. That's how the Ella found out that their teacher had become quite tiny. Meanwhile, the counselor had already started construction work, which angered all the teachers. Schmidt accepted her new outfit and demanded that the kid enlarge her back. To do that, you have to replay everything that happened last night. Just as the balloon was spinning and Felix realized it was about him. Records of this thing are kept at Frau Schmidt's house. At the same time, the counselor found out that this kid Felix is new, which could prevent the school from closing. His wife demanded that he deal with him, otherwise her husband won't become the headmaster of the elite gymnasium. And she wouldn't have a maid. At home, Schmidt made the children wear booties. The woman lives alone in a large house. The children opened a closet of old records and dusty shelves immediately collapsed. In between, the boy began to spin a balloon. It opened. Inside was something that looked like ashes. Suddenly the powder smoked and the first headmaster of the school, Otto Leonard, appeared in front of the students, so that the orders in the educational institution never changed. He drank an African potion and moved his soul to the school. In this way he was going to interfere with all subsequent principals. This record, so the children were left only to watch the madman. They discovered a pattern. Every time the school had to change, the old principals disappeared somewhere, and Otto's ghost was angry with the principal. After all, she turns down a lot of kids, and because of that the school is underachieving, so the curse has worked. So if Schmidt wants to correct the situation, she has to accept Felix to the school without an exam. The frustrated teacher asked to spend the night at the boy's house again. There she saw that Felix was actually a bright boy. Thanks to calculations, the boy found out that under the school there are secret rooms that Otto had built. First thing in the morning, Mrs. Schmidt signed Felix's acceptance to the school. But it's not so easy to do it with a huge pen. Felix got a C- for the test, and the nasty trio got a D each. So the teacher punished them, but also framed Felix. At recess, Mario pounced on the new kid. He is going to find out what classmate hides in the penal and found there a doll that looks like their teacher. The naughty kid took the doll, but in 2 hours the school board meeting will start, and without the principal to fix the situation will not be possible. At home, Mario's teacher sneezed. The bully also found out that Frau Schmidt has shrunk, and it was because of her he got a D. The boy immediately wanted to introduce the teacher to the toilet and microwave. Mario made Schmidt his target during a game of darts and was about to feed her to his snake, but then the doorbell rang. It was a classmate. The kid started to open up that he wouldn't mind making friends with her, but he'd disband the gang. Ella recorded his words on a tape recorder, and Felix broke into the house and locked himself in. The boy managed at the last moment. Frau almost fell and crashed to the floor. Felix evaluated the principal using a quadcopter, but he failed to control it and Schmidt died in a plane crash. In her place, however, Mario discovered his toy. The conspirators, meanwhile, escaped from the mayor's house. The ghost of Otto Leonard did not let Huning to the teacher's council until the last. Felix began begging Otto to enlarge Schmidt back, but somehow the magic wouldn't work. Then Felix ran to the council with a signed document. The gymnasium now had enough students again, but the counselor pointed out that the signature was forged completely without interpretation and tore up the paper. If Schmidt was against closing the school, she would have attended the council. It's just that the principal wanted a promotion, and yesterday she got it. The counselor walked into the old teacher's lounge. The balloon spun and shrunk the man to the principal's size. Immediately the tile beneath them opened up and the Lilliputians fell into the abyss. Felix was disappointed in Schmidt. It turns out she had betrayed the school a long time ago. So he decided to call it a day and left Ella alone. The counselor used a lighter and saw the skeleton of the long-missing principal in front of him. Ella remembered the plan drawn by Felix and found a way to get to the secret room. The secret passage was pointed out to her by a local cat. The girl followed her friend, but she was grabbed by a trio of hooligans. At home, Felix told his parents that the school was closing, and at that moment he received a message from Ella. The boy immediately arrives at the school and is confronted by Mario and his minions. The scoundrel agrees to trade the girl for the teacher. Felix tells the boys that the school will be closed today, and Ella turns on a tape that hears exactly what Mario thinks of his so-called friends. The boys immediately offered their help to our heroes. Together they began to dismantle the rubble to get to the secret room. Felix turned on the electricity, and it turned out that Otto saw his school as a place for fun, not a gymnasium with strict orders. Mario decided to join his classmates because his father sent him selfies with a kitty cat. Daddy needs to be rescued. The children rolled down the slide and found themselves in a geography class. To get to the next room, they need to solve a puzzle. One by one, the famous sites begin to light up, and they need to mark them on the map to open the locks. The kids should hurry because the adults are about to either burn or become cat food. The kids have pressed the right buttons and find themselves in the math room. Now they need to put together a cube out of different shapes and insert it into the recess. At the same time, the teacher recognized that promotion application was old. Back then, the school was in no danger. The puzzle was solved, but now you have to go over the spinning bridge. The trio fell off it, but Ella and Felix managed to overcome the obstacle and save the Lilliputians. Now they only have to swear that Otto Leonard school will not be closed. However, only Schmidt increased. Because the counselor was not sincere, the man had to apologize again. Mahalski entered the room. He missed Frau Schmidt very much, and the teacher offered to tell him about his adventures over a cup of tea with Sage. The school did change, but in the way its founder, Otto Leonard, wanted it to. Felix's mother also came to the celebration because she could not miss the enrollment of her son in the school.